Trish, are we starting right now?
Natasha, are we starting right now?
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And action.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Take a Pain Check. We're here today with Julie, who's all the way in Ottawa. And Julie is a young adult that has juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And she's just here to tell us about her journey through all of this. She's kind of never known anything else, and she's had it since she was a baby. So, Julie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Julie. I am 19 years old. I am a student at the University of Ottawa. I am studying commerce and I'm taking half of my program in French. So that has been very interesting. But other than that, yeah, I was diagnosed with JRA when I was literally a year and a half. So it's all I've ever known. I couldn't tell you what it's like to not have joint pain or to not have all of the things that we deal with. But yeah, super excited to be here. So thank you guys.
Thank you for coming on today. So, we sort of wanted to start off with your story, and it's great that you mentioned that you were diagnosed at such a young age because, like, Trish and I were diagnosed in our teenage years. And sort of what I wanted to know is when did you actually realize that you had this condition? Because you were so young, I don't think your parents would have told you at that age, or maybe they did. So, we kind of wanted to know when did you actually realize that you had JIA?
Yeah, that's actually really interesting to think about because I don't think there was a specific moment where it was like, you have arthritis. It was just kind of, I grew up knowing that. I don't remember what age I learned the name. But that's what's interesting about getting it when you're so young. It's because it's all you know. No one really explains exactly what the disease is because obviously you can't explain that to a baby. So I just kind of grew up knowing I had arthritis, but I didn't really know what that meant. I knew it meant, okay, I'll have pain sometimes. Okay, I need to take this medication, but I didn't really actually know how it worked. And it wasn't until I want to say I was an early teen, or one of the big factors that made me learn more about it was actually being exposed to other kids with arthritis through Camp Cambria, as I know you guys have talked about before. And yeah, that's really what I guess helped me kind of navigate that and figure out what it exactly is going on with my body.
As a like as a kindergartner or like a baby or kid, did you ever did you feel different from the other kids?
Honestly, as a kid, no, I didn't. I know the biggest thing that made me feel different was having doctor's appointments. Like I had to go, I've been to so many doctors, rheumatologists, physiotherapists, chiropractors, correctology, literally naturopaths, you name it, I've been to it. But that was the biggest thing that made me feel different was waking up at like 6 in the morning before elementary school to go to a physio appointment or to go to whatever. That's what made me feel different, but it wasn't the condition itself. And I think I was really lucky because my medications worked for a long time. So when I was very small, I didn't notice it too much. It was kind of funny because I've had like joint injection in my ankles before, and you know how you're not able to walk after that, or you have to wear crutches for a couple days. So I'd show up to school and flex on everyone. But I didn't think anything of it until I was a teenager and I'd been playing competitive sports for many years, and that's when I started feeling it the most in my body, and I realized, oh, other people don't feel this way, and I think it it got a little bit worse for me. So I think the biggest realization of that I was different, it wasn't bad when I was a kid. It was more so difficult to come to terms with when I was a little bit older and understood it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally understand that in a way that you're older now and like you're trying to understand it. I cannot relate with being diagnosed so young. Even 13, I was like, oh my God, like, how do I have this? And sort of what I want to talk about is like, so obviously, like, you have a lot of friends. Trish is your friend. I'm your new. And so how did you tell your friends since day one? Was it something that you were like, oh, like, by the way, I have arthritis when you were like 6? Probably not. I don't know. But like, when did you sort of like you say, I have arthritis to your friends?
Well, as a kid, honestly, it wasn't a secret, but it was kind of a secret. I just didn't tell people. I think maybe my closest friends knew, or maybe if I was having a play date with someone that I would spend a lot of time with, my mom maybe told their parents. I honestly don't know, but I didn't talk about it with other kids because I knew none of them would get it, which I think looking back is kind of, I don't want to say damaging. It's just interesting in the sense that you really don't know anyone else who's going through it. And I think my family felt that as well because I was diagnosed so young. I don't think they didn't know any other families with young kids with arthritis. So it was kind of like you're on your own in the dark. In a sense, I mean, the hospital is a great supportive tool, but it still doesn't ease your mind with everything. But when I was getting older, that's kind of when I would tell my friends I had arthritis. And for me now, it's just casual. I think when I was a kid, I was nervous of being different and I didn't want to stand out from the crowd. But now I could not care less if people know. I think it makes me who I am. And it made me who I am. So there's nothing to be ashamed of that because I know you guys can relate to this. I honestly, I wouldn't change anything because I know all of the experiences you get from it, you can't get it any other way.
Yeah.
And I guess that's just kind of the positive to it,
Yeah.
even though there are challenges for sure.
I mean, like, I was thinking about it yesterday. Like, I don't think I would know, like, I wouldn't have the friends I have or know the people I know if I didn't have this disease. And I think that's such a, like, it's so hard to even think about. But then you're like, you think of not having it when you're in pain and you're like, oh, like, life would be better without it. But then you think of the people that it's brought into your life. You think of the things you get to do because of it. And sometimes I think it evens out. Sometimes, just sometimes.
Yeah. In some aspects for sure.
Yeah. I know, like we've discussed this before, but having a disease that nobody can see and it not being visible all the time, like it not being there and it not showing up, I feel like people treat you a lot different. Like they don't realize how bad it is. Like I don't think my friends really understood how bad my disease was until they saw the medication I took. They saw like what I went through and all those things. So I think it really does take a mental toll on you too to have to explain yourself again and again about what you're going through. It's not my fault. like it, you know.
Yeah. It's one of those things where people can be hesitant. Well, they'll say they believe you, but you don't think they actually believe you until they see you struggling firsthand. And a lot of times, well, I don't know about you guys, but for me at least, I don't know what happens. I think it's adrenaline or something, but I can hide it so well in public. I can work a full shift. I can go out to a party. I can do, and obviously not during the pandemic, but you get the idea. You can do everything. But the second I get home, the fatigue hits, the pain just starts, and I just crash. And I just need to take like a 3-day break of just feet up, lying in bed. But that's what people don't see. So they see me as this outgoing, I can do anything person. But as soon as you get home, it may be a different story.
Yeah, I definitely like, I can see that they don't really understand what's going on. And I like, if you ask anyone, they'll be like, oh yeah, you're perfectly like normal. Like yeah, normal, subjective. You're normal. Like, how could you have arthritis? I know like today, someone was like, you have arthritis? And I was just like, yeah. But like I felt uncomfortable. I know you guys are like, I guess you're kind of at the stage where it's like, where you can advocate for others. And like I've talked about this with Trish before and the other guests, that like I've only reached this stage right now. And like I'm like terrified, but I'm getting there and I'm trying not to be terrified to tell people. But definitely with like my friends too, I felt that it was it was hard, but it was sort of like natural in conversation. I don't know if anyone else can like it was sort of like I wouldn't take medications in front of them, but they would see that my hand like I would get someone to scribe for me and then they'd ask questions. So I'm like, oh yeah, like by the way, I can't really write. So it was like sort of natural in conversation, but I guess like getting out there and like telling everyone, oh yeah, like I have arthritis, like you really have to have guts to do that. And I'm glad like you guys are like out there.
Yeah, yeah, honestly, I'm really happy for you that you're getting to that place because I don't know what it's like to get diagnosed later on. I mean, I've had 19 years to come to terms with it. Um, but I can only imagine it kind of being sprung on you. I don't know, maybe you felt it for a while, but only got your diagnosis late, or maybe it just all of a sudden came and you got it late. But I can only imagine how world shifting that can be for you, right? Because I never had that world shifting moment because it was always there. But a lot of other people, it's like a specific moment where it's you are different. You have this disease. And I don't mean different in a bad way. I mean different in a good way.
Having it when you're so young and then getting diagnosed in teenage years. And so I just wanted to sort of like segue from that and talk about medications because that is something that's really vital and important when you are diagnosed with JIA. So maybe you can start off by just telling us like what medications you've been on and since you were younger till now, 19 years, and sort of like explain a bit about that.
Okay. Buckle up, folks. So I'm pretty sure I was on methotrexate as a baby. Methotrexate is a medication. It comes in pills and it also comes in injections. But I believe that's what I was on as a child. I don't entirely remember. But as far back as I remember, that's the first medication I had. So I would take, I think, 6 pills a week, which was kind of a lot. But one of the things I found about methotrexate was that it made me very, very nauseous, to the point where as soon as I would take the pills, I would get sick to my stomach. And then I would put it in pudding and yogurt or whatever. And then anytime I tasted pudding or yogurt, I would get sick to my stomach. And it was just a struggle for that. And I did that for years and years and years. And then I said, screw it, I am changing to injections. So I can't remember what age exactly. I want to say 11 or 12, I changed to injections of methotrexate. And if you don't know what it looks like, it comes in like a gross yellow color. That's all I can describe the injection as. But basically, I started off by doing it in the back of my arm, like in the fat there. And then I kind of did it in my legs, whatever. And my mom would do it. But then it was kind of a funny story, actually. I what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, me and my mom did my medication, but then one day we were kind of in an argument, so I was mad and I just took it and literally stabbed my leg. And then from that day on, I've done my needles myself. But besides the point. So did methotrexate, and then unfortunately the medication stopped working for me. I had some flare-ups, so I switched to Enbrel. I was taking both injections of methotrexate and Enbrel at the same time for, I want to say, a year for a transition. And since then, I've been on Enbrel injections. I was on the auto injector for a few months, which I did not like at all. I found it pushed, it's kind of like an EpiPen, like you click it and it pushes way too fast and my whole leg would swell. It looked like there was like a golf ball on it. But I do just do the 2 syringes now, and I like it. Personally, I haven't experienced very many side effects, which has been amazing. It works decent for the most part. I just find if I'm late by taking it for a day or a couple days, I'll really feel my body starting to hurt. But yeah, something Oh, another thing I forgot about medication. I've been on a couple random other things. Like if I had a flare up, they'd put me on a naproxen pill at the same time, or just other smaller things. But I remember in the ninth grade. How many years ago was that? It was a few years ago. I hadn't had a flare up in a while, so my doctor said, okay, you're considered in remission. So instead of kind of like weaning me off of my medication, we just stopped it cold turkey. And it didn't go over too well because I was really struggling after a couple months. Like pretty much every symptom came back. So personally, now I haven't gone into remission since, but if I were to do it again, I would wean myself off instead of stop altogether. And I think that would have helped a lot.
I mean, like I was in remission too for a while when I think I was probably around the same age, like 14, 15. And my doctor, like, she tried to wean me off, and like I think I was going to her every 2 months, and she was like, okay, like come every 4 months or like 6 months. And I kid you not, like in that 6 months, my body like literally deteriorated. Like the flare-ups just got so bad. And I was like, man, like I can't, like it's not working. I feel like they try to wean you off, but your body is just like it's so dependent on it. And how is a disease just gonna go away? Like,
Yeah. But again, I mean, it is different for everyone. So if someone's listening and is considering going off their medication, if that's what you want to do it. Just make sure to stay in contact with your doctors and routinely check in with yourself. Honestly, if I were to do it again, I would have a journal or something where every day I write down if I feel any symptoms, just because that's one thing I didn't really do is track things. So when I would go into doctor's appointments, it would be like, oh, well, what hurts? And then I wouldn't remember what hurt 2 months ago. I would just remember what happened now. And when did that start? Oh, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. No, I would track everything and really tell them, be like, hey, this is hurting now. We need to do something about it.
I feel like I take for granted the fact that I feel better most of the time. Like when I compare how many days I feel better to how many days I feel not very good, the days I feel better are more. So I feel like instead of moving from that and saying, okay, like I want more days where I feel better, I'm just like, okay, like I have this many days where I feel better, like, okay, just stick with that. Like it's working for now kind of thing. And I don't know, like I don't know if that's a good mindset to have because I've just always had it. Like as long as the good days outweigh the bad days, it's okay. And I'm not willing to change all of my medications just because I have a couple of bad days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think there's a right or wrong mindset as long as your mindset involves it's going forward and not it's going to get better and I'm going to be cured, but I will find joy in there. I will have good days. Yeah, so as long as it's not just focusing on the negative, then I think we all just do the best we can, really.
Yeah, it's I can't. Yeah, I know, Trish, you haven't been on biologics, right? Ever or something? Yeah. So I know that you brought it up, and so I also had some sort of medication journey, and it went from like naproxen to prednisone to methotrexate to Humira to an infusion, Actemra, like everywhere, and then now I'm back to like DMARDs, which are methotrexate, plaquenil, sulfasalazine. And it's just like I went through all of that, and then it's like 3 years later, I found something that works for me, which is like tough, I guess. Like it's good that you found methotrexate to work, and then you were able to make that determination that okay, I need to like find something else. And I feel like a lot of patients might feel that it's sort of like a trial and error, and you're like I think that takes a lot. That is a lot on your mental health and like well-being. And so guys, don't worry, you'll find the medication that works for you. But yeah, I just want to talk about like you mentioned some symptoms. So like nausea, like I only experienced nausea maybe like a year later after I was taking methotrexate. So it was kind of like, why did this randomly like happen? You guys take folic acid to like help you with methotrexate? I know you're not on methotrexate, Julie, but Trish?
Yeah, I'm supposed to.
Guys,
my mom asks, I do.
Don't listen to Trish. Bad example to follow.
I do. I take it every night. It helps
You
with hair,
take it every night. Okay.
it helps
Oh.
with hair loss.
So we'll say that's every 3 days.
Oh, and like tummy pain, right? Did you guys have like stomach issues? I don't know. I don't.
Well, I've been on methotrexate for a long time, like 5 or 6 years. And I think I went from pills to needles and back to pills. So pills made me nauseous at first. And then my doctor was like, you're getting older, you're gaining weight. Let's go to needles. I was like, okay. I went to needles. I hated needles. I don't like things like I will do blood work, I will do everything else. I do not like things being pushed into my body. Like no. And my dad used to do my needles, so he would like cry every time he did them. I would feel bad.
That's traumatic.
It was, yeah, I think he's very, like, Julie's met my dad. My dad is a very loving person. He does not enjoy hurting people. So, especially me, like, he did not enjoy that at all. So, it was not in my books to stay on those needles because I am not Julie. I will not do it myself.
Yeah, me neither. I go to the doctor every single week, like 30 minutes away every single week to get poked. I do not trust anyone in my family. I do not trust my friends. I do not trust myself. I literally go to the doctor every single Monday
Goodness.
to get a needle.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
I kind of use like my ability to give myself needles almost as a party trick. I had a cousin she's a nurse now, but she was studying to be a nurse, so she would practice on me. Like giving me
My sister's gonna be a doctor and I still don't trust her. I was like, no, like good for you. She's like full on patients and she's like injecting them and I'm like, no, sorry, I gotta go to my doctor.
Do you use like numbing cream or anything, or do you just go at it freehand or free skin?
So I had like the normal free skin. I had the normal like injection without numbing cream and it hurt like every single week. After it started hurting like a year after, and then the nausea started like after a year, so it was like really annoying. Anyways, I changed to like this, it's like Metajet or something, like it's like automatic, like it comes pre-filled. And basically because the volume is like concentrated differently, it like doesn't hurt, or it hurts it like feels like Humira or like Enbrel, the injection at the point, but then after that it doesn't hurt. So I don't have like numbing cream, but I sort of found like a way that like it works and it doesn't hurt as much anymore. So yeah.
Okay. So segueing from talking about symptoms of our medications and those things, those are the physical tolls that arthritis obviously puts on our body. But what about the mental tolls? I know that you and I have discussed how mental health really should come to the forefront of the JIA community because these are young adults and kids that have a disease their entire life.
Sure. So I think mental health is something, like you said, that really needs to be talked about in the JIA community, just because when you do have your doctor's visits and whatever, it's all focused on the physical aspect because, again, it is a physical disease, but your mental health can be affected from it a lot, from whether it's feeling different from other kids or whether it's changing medications and you're scared of what's going to happen. Or maybe you're just feeling symptoms that could be related to mental health or could be related to arthritis. That was one thing for me that was hard to distinguish. I have fatigue a lot. And so a lot of times it's hard to distinguish, am I lying in bed because fatigue is happening because I'm very sad and feeling depressed, or am I lying in bed because my medication or my condition is causing me fatigue? And it's really hard to distinguish between the two, but I think it's important to say that it's okay to not be able to distinguish between the two, and it could be both, and it probably is in certain situations. So I think that's just something important to talk about, but I also just want to preface, definitely not a mental health expert or anything. I just wanted to bring attention to it because it is often overlooked when it comes to physical illnesses.
Yeah. It is for sure. Like, I feel like when you go to the doctor, all I hear is like, hi, like, how are you? How are you like feeling? But it's sort of just like not those questions that are pertaining to mental health, even if we wanted to talk about it. But I also feel like doctors are comfortable. It's just not, I guess, like put forth there that we can talk about mental health. So I totally understand that. What are some strategies that you use to, I guess, take care of your mental health, or like tips you would give to people to take care of their mental health? Do you have any? I know you're not an expert, but you're an advocate. So that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
So I would definitely just say, I know everyone's heard this before, but listen to your body. This is something I still struggle with because I'll go, super productive for one day, and then I will stay in bed for 3 days after that. Is that physical? Is that mental health related? Who knows? Is it both? Probably. But I think it's important to find your balance and realize how you feel after everything you do. So let's say you're out for 4 hours and then you come home and you feel fine and then you're able to do that the next day. Well, perfect. Then you know that that is a good boundary for you. But also, another thing I find that helps, my mom actually told me to do this, is whenever you're feeling something, pay attention to the emotion and name the emotion so that you can see if something caused it or if it's just there. And I think it just helps to name the emotion because it takes away from, I guess, the sense of being overwhelmed. So that's what I have started doing. And I think also it's just tracking everything you can because it takes clutter out from your mind. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I mentioned with like the symptom diary, I definitely wish I started doing that when I was younger because it would take the clutter out of your mind. You have your book, you know what you're talking about. Same thing with mental health. Take the clutter out of your mind and write it down or say it out loud or rely on your support system. Hopefully, everyone has a good support system because that is very important. That's something that also very helps a lot. That wasn't English, but
I think like I'm a very big supporter of therapy. I think everybody needs to go to therapy, even if you have a good family life. Like, I think everybody needs it. But I also think that a lot of mental health wellness isn't always tailored to, like, it's not tailored to you. Like, every people that put out mental health resources and all of these things, these are just tailored to everybody. And I feel like mental health is really something that needs to be tailored to you. Like, you know what's good for you, you know what makes your mind feel good. Like, for example, I don't watch scary movies, I don't watch shows that stress me out. I've been doing this long enough that I know if I watch a crazy stressful show, I'm not going to be able to sleep. And I don't care. I think the show should make me laugh. I don't think I should not be able to sleep after it. And that, for me, that works. But for someone else, it might not. For someone else, they might be able to go to bed and their mind might be empty. I've struggled with insomnia and I can't clear my mind at night ever. Like, never. So it took me a long time. Like, I have to work on being able to fall asleep. And for me to fall asleep, someone has to be on the phone. I have to be watching a TV show. Otherwise, like, my brain just goes and goes and goes and goes. And it's been like that since I was a kid. So I feel like mental health really needs to be tailored to what everybody is dealing with, like, personally. And when you bring a disease into it, now you're exactly what Julie was saying. Now you don't know what is what. Like, I don't know if I can't go to sleep because my hand is throbbing or the fact that I really can't stop thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I struggle with it a lot. I don't really know what is what sometimes, but I think like just talking about it and bringing it out into the open is so important.
Yeah, and also I think being open and honest with your support system that knows about your arthritis or about your physical condition, because then they can kind of see the whole thing, even if they can't feel it for themselves. I also think that's why it's so great to have other people my age who have arthritis, like you guys, literally lifesavers. When I didn't know like I said, I didn't know anyone with arthritis before I went to Camp Cambria, and I didn't even want to go because I thought I was going to be one of the older campers, and it was going to be lame, whatever. No, literally it was a life-changing experience, and just being able to talk about it with people who get it makes all the difference. So if you can find support groups or Facebook groups or wherever, or send someone a DM, do something. And it's just great to expand your support network with people who get it and people who care, really.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I was gonna, on that note, since we're talking about Facebook groups, this is my time to tell everyone my little story. Obviously, like when I was diagnosed, I went on Google, searched Facebook groups, joined the groups, like kids get arthritis too, arthritis remedies, like blah blah blah. I feel like a lot of us might have done that as well, like look around the internet to find support. And sort of what happened the other day is one of the groups that I'm in. I don't use the group anymore because I have Trish now, my new friend.
And meet your new
And
friend
now
too.
I have Julie, my other new friend, and now I have like Cassian friends, everyone. But yeah, I guess I went on that group and I posted some stuff about our podcast and like resources for kids and what they could use to basically listen to us talk like we're doing today. And the post got taken down. Okay, so that was really upsetting. So the post got taken down. So this lady, no naming any names, but I DM'd her and I mentioned that, oh, like, hi, we have like my friend and I, we have this podcast and it's like a resource for kids that have arthritis and we would love to share it. Just wondering why you took down the post. And she was like, oh, like you can't promote here, like you can't. And I was like, but the group chat's named Kids Get Arthritis Too, for kids. And she was like, no, like if I allow you to give your resource out, then I can let everyone give their resource out. And I'm like, our resource is free. And like we have arthritis. And it was just, it sucks because I feel like some of these adults that are making groups for kids about kids are not even allowed to like say what they want to say about the disease that they have. And that's just like upsetting. And I feel like that can also take a toll on like mental health and well-being because it's like kids can't say what they got to say about the disease that they have.
Isn't the point of support groups to share resources to help each other?
Right?
That doesn't make any sense.
You know, and it made me so mad because I was like, hello, like we're doing this podcast and it's a resource for other kids. And you as an adult that don't have the condition, your kid probably wants this resource. You're saying, no, you can't promote it here. So obviously, like it's not the end of the world. We are promoting other places, but it's just like kids, like we really want them to have this resource with all of us here. And it just sucks that sometimes people take over and they don't understand it. Yes, Trish, any opinions? Any
Lots of
I was
opinions.
I was agreeing with you. I just think like a lot of these groups say no advertising, and I when I posted about our podcast, like I'm not doing it as an advertisement. If you want to watch it, watch it. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting it out there. Like Natasha and I put a podcast out there with guests like you because we want these stories to be told, and because when we like I've known Julie for a long time. Like we've talked about this before. When we were growing up with a disease like this, there was not really resources for us. Like Julie and I didn't really get any support until we met each other, and we were 15, I think. Like I was 15. Like
Yeah, I was
you were
14.
older, right? And I think when you struggle with it for so long, you finally find your voice to talk about it in public to people. And it really is hard when adults are the ones that stop you from talking about it, because
Yeah.
these are the same adults that should support you and let you talk about it. And like we're not putting our podcast out there because we want to become an influencer and because we want to do this. It's because we didn't find these resources growing up, and we think that every kid with arthritis should have these resources. Every hospital that we've reached out to, every rheumatology department, they've all told us thank you and that their kids need this. And it's like it's hard for me to hear those stories because I've definitely dealt with adults telling me I don't have arthritis, telling me I don't have a disease. And someone that runs a group like this and sees that kids have it, I get it. You don't want promotion, but take 5 minutes out of your day and at least go watch it and see what's going on.
Yeah, just don't just randomly take it down because it says podcast. Like yeah, totally. I totally agree with Trish. I think that we wanted those resources when we were younger, and now we found that we can make these resources and make it easier for kids that are diagnosed. And like, okay, anyways, yes, Julie.
If they took the time to look at it, they would have seen it's not a promotion. You don't want kids to buy a product, and it would have taken 2 seconds to click, see, oh look, a new YouTube account with podcasts. It's not difficult.
Yeah. It's like, just watch it. Okay. I'm the best host ever. Okay, sorry. Just making myself excited here. I'm so glad. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So the game is hosted by me. As usual. Maybe we'll do some change and mix up soon one day. But yeah, so sort of what the instructions are. Prior to today, Trish and Julie were given these instructions to create 5 arthritis pickup lines. So I'm gonna be the host, as always, like everyone knows. And I want, basically, you guys need to tell me what the pickup line is. Give me a location where this pickup line would have been appropriately said. So for example, the bathroom. Okay, whatever. It's so weird. But yeah, okay. And then I'll rate it 1 to 10. 1 being like really awful, just like stop, I don't want to hear it, and like 10 being like, oh my god, I love it. Yeah, all that stuff. So yeah, let's get started. I guess, should I just like nominate someone to like, oh, okay, Julie, yes, obviously guest goes first. Who cares about Trish?
So first one, location, either walking beside someone or post hug. Okay, with you around, I don't need a hot pack because you warm me right up.
Oh my god. Oh, am I supposed to rate it like automatically?
Yes, go.
Bro. Well, I have to see you first, and then
Okay, I'll give you mine. I'll give you my first one. Okay. So actually, this one was the inspiration for our slogan because I thought of the pickup line before the slogan, before we started this podcast. So it's, this would definitely be at a club or like a party, because if you said this anywhere else, it would be harassment. So it goes, your arthritis might be chronic, but that booty is definitely iconic.
Ooh.
This is not fair. I quit my job here. Okay. Oh, this is so mean. I don't want to be a meanie.
I think we should both win.
Yo, that's not how it works. I have to rate you. I rate Trish a 7.
Oh, yo, you're tough.
And I rate Julie an 8.5, but that's not because you're a guest and I am like tired of Trish. It's just because of the pickup line. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh, there's plenty of more where that came from.
She's lying. I lose every game and I'm convinced it's because of Natasha. Whatever.
No, we still have 4 more pickup lines.
Whatever. Go. Okay, go, Julie.
Okay. You must be inflammation because you make my knees weak. I'd say that's like a sliding in the DMs in a arthritis group chat.
Okay.
This group chat.
That was good. Okay, mine is at the doctor's office. Are you a box of needles? Because you're hella fine.
That was a good one. That was really good.
I used to be a professional pickup line person. Julie knows this.
I rate Trish's 9 and I rate Julie's a 7. Okay, so right now it's like 1-1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
I'll write a tally. Okay, Trish, you go first since I went first before.
oh yeah.
Okay. This is round 3. This is at the pharmacy. Okay. Hey, I heard you're the pharmacist. Here's my new methotrexate prescription. See you every week for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I thought it was funny.
Okay.
Okay, Trish. Julie's turn.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that methotrexate idea. I'm gonna also say pharmacy. Ready? Is your name methotrexate? Because you make my world spin. Literally.
That
Get
was
it?
good.
The nausea and the dizziness.
You win.
Yeah, sorry, Trish. Julie wins this round.
I
Julie,
voted for her too.
I rate you at 11 out of 10. And Trish, sorry, you get like a 2 out of 10.
Whatever.
So 2-1.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
I guess this would be a pharmacy too, but like maybe you could use this anywhere. You're hot, then you're cold. You're yes, then you're a no. You must be taking prednisone.
Was that like a rhymey type of
Oh my
There's
god.
also renos going on in my house, so
It's not that noticeable.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't hear anything.
very noticeable to me. Okay, go
Okay.
Julie.
Julie, your turn.
Okay. I would say the location of this one is after a date. Looks like I can throw out my Enbrel. You're the only medicine for me. My brother thought of that one actually. Just
Shout
kidding.
out to Julie's brother.
Shout out to Luke.
Trish, what was yours again?
Oh, you're hot, then you're cold. You're yes, then you're a no. You must be taking prednisone.
Oh my god, this is so sad. Okay, Trish wins this round. Trish, you get a 8 out of 10, and Julie
Trish
gets
gets a hug after that one. It was kind of sad.
Julie gets a 7.5 out of 10. So I think now it's like 2-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's the tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
You go first.
Okay. This would be either like DM slide or like when you meet someone for the first time and they tell you they have arthritis. And I'm a girl, so I'm gonna say it to a guy.
Okay.
Hey dude, I'll make you weak everywhere that your arthritis doesn't.
That was good.
Okay. Next.
Okay. Location. You're walking in a hospital. You run into someone you find attractive. You look at them with a little twinkle in your eye and you say, "Are you a rheumatologist? Because I hope your heart has room for all of this."
What?
Sorry, Julie wins. Julie's the real winner. That was like so good.
That's some Meredith and Drake.
That's 100 out of 10. Wow.
Yeah. I think I might find my future boyfriend with that line.
Yeah, please do that. Please use it. If it doesn't work, we'll haunt him.
But then your boyfriend's gonna have arthritis too.
No, he's gonna be the doctor. Just kidding.
Rheumatologist. I rate it. I rate it.
Okay. Julie wins 100 out of 10.
That
Wins. Julie's the real winner. Trish loses again.
Whatever.
100th time in a row. So thank you, Julia, for coming on today. We really appreciate it. Everyone, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow us everywhere. Follow Julie on her socials. And if you're listening through Spotify and our other cool streaming platforms, make sure to follow us and download this video. Like, I'm so funny. Anyways, everybody, we will see you next week on Take a Pain Check. Bye.
The information that we are sharing today is our own personal experiences and does not constitute as medical advice. Please check with your doctor for medical advice that is suited to you and your condition. Thank you.